Well, hey everybody, welcome to my channel. Thank you very much for stopping by today. So I wanted to share a knife review with you today. This is a knife that I've had for well over a year. If you're a follower of the channel, you've seen it on several of my videos. It's a knife I've become pretty familiar with, and a knife that I like quite a bit. It's the ltwright GNS. This particular one is in saber grind, and I'd like to share what my thoughts are about this knife with you. So if you're interested, stick around. We'll go through it. Okay, before we start testing, let's go over a few specs. This is not the sheath that comes with the knife, I should mention. This is from Sage Wood Gear. ltwright uses JRE Industry sheaths. They are great sheaths. I have a few of them. I just choose to carry this knife in this sheath. But today, we're talking about the knife anyway. So, the ltwright GNS is 9.5 inches overall. The blade is 4.5 inches. The scales are natural micarta. The steel is 01 tool steel. It's a spear point, and this is a saber grind. Alright, the blade is about 1/8 of an inch thick. There is a slight flared pommel, so it does stop your hand from slipping off. And I wear a large glove, so as you can see, if you had an extra large hand, there is still room on that handle. There's also a slight finger guard, which doesn't seem to hinder very much at all. So overall, I found it to be a really comfortable knife. Great for bushcraft tasks. Being that it's a saber grind, I find it great for all-around camp use. So let's start some testing. So batoning. Batoning is something I expect my bushcraft knife to do. You know, sometimes you have to get inside to the center of the wood to get to the dry part so you can get your fire going. The key to batoning is to find a piece of wood that's suitable to the size of the knife. Okay, this is a 4.5 inch blade. It's not overly thick, it's 1/8 of an inch thick, so you're not going to baton a massive piece of wood with this knife. This is a reasonable piece. There's a few knots in it. It's not a big concern. Not a problem. Modern bushcraft knives, modern steels are able to do this. You shouldn't have any hesitation at all. Now, would I baton a 6-inch piece of wood with this knife? No. Unless I had to. I would use an axe. But if you didn't have an axe and you needed a fire, I would just look for an appropriate sized piece of wood. Now this handle is really comfortable for batoning. And one thing I'm finding with the saber grind, it's the first saber grind knife I've ever had, is that it's very durable. Very durable. That's one thing I am enjoying a lot with this knife. And by the way, I have the knife pointed away from me. There's major arteries through the inside of your thighs. You want to stay away from there. You don't want to work inside that triangle of death, they call it. So here's a little bigger piece. Let's see how this goes. Big knot right there. There, we're through that. That was a big knot. So batoning is also a skill you need to learn because it's great for making bow drill sets. You know, you want to get those splits so that you can plane the board down for your hearth. Most of the time batoning is the way to do it. So, batoning. Every knife should be able to do this. GNS does a good job. Okay, so there's the edge of this knife after I batoned. As you can see, there's no damage whatsoever. I hope that's focusing in for you. But there is no damage. That was hard seasoned maple. A few knots. So let's process that wood down a little bit further into some fine sticks and some feather sticks. Sometimes you need to process that wood even finer. That's where a strong tip comes into play. This spear point is almost in center with the blade, so that makes it fairly easy to use in this manner. Just with the sharp edge of the knife pointing away from you, hold your thumb on the top of the pommel so it doesn't slip down, and you can break the wood down more. This is a good strong tip. I've performed this task many times with this knife, and it is not bent at all. Really, this is the #1 thing we use our knives for out here, I would say, guys. We expect it to do quite a few things, but fire is what we need the most. Keeps us warm, cooks our food, sterilizes our water, entertains us. I find this handle really comfortable for executing this type of cut. Processing these down into pencil size and pencil lead size. It's all part of the fire prep game. No problem for this knife. So sometimes we have to process our firewood down even further into feather sticks. So of course we expect our knives to be able to do this task. And as you can see, this ltwright knife is up to this task. It's making some fairly fine curls, which I'm sure we'll be able to light without much effort. So I think I'll just make a few more of these and we'll try to light it. So I'm certainly not an expert at feather sticks, but as you can see, the curls are fine enough. I'm sure that'll light with a fire steel. So let's try and light one now. So I'm just going to make a quick Burtonsville rig. And this tip is great for drilling. So, light carving task. I usually like to make a pot hook when I'm demonstrating this. So today let's do the same. And we'll light the fire and have some coffee, of course. So I just want to make a bird's beak notch for this pot hook. A few different levels. So you start off with that X and then undercut under the X, and you'll be left with that bird's beak pattern. You can use push cuts like that to clean it up. So at 4.5 inches, it's kind of a long blade, in my opinion, but by working the tip, using different techniques, you're able to get right into that notch and execute it without any problem at all. So I think we're ready to light the fire. Okay, here's my basic fire prep. I have my base for my fire. I have the feathers that we made with the LT-Wright. Over here I have the kindling, the very small, slightly bigger. And here's my fuel. So let's light this up and make a cup of coffee. So after 1 year, what do I think about this LT-Wright GNS? Well, I like it. It's been able to do everything I've thrown at it. It excels at fire prep. It has that great 90-degree spine so I can scrape a ferro rod. Can also use that spine to scrape tinder into very fine shavings, so that's very useful as well. It's also good at carving, but it's also very good at food prep. In my last video, I did some food prep with it. I'll link to it maybe here or definitely at the end of the video. You can go check that out. Food prep was very easy with this. It was able to cut vegetables into very thin strips without any problem at all. So that makes this a very good all-around camp knife. My first LT-Wright, definitely not my last. Alright, changed my mind. We're going to go with T. Well, everybody, thank you very much. I hope this overview was of some value to you. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy the video, please give me a thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber, you'd like to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button and the little bell icon so you'll be notified of future content. And by all means, I really appreciate it if you leave a comment down below. Do you own an LT-Wright GNS? Do you own any LT-Wright knives? Do you like them? Give me your opinions down below. start a conversation in the comment section down below. Guys, I appreciate you stopping by. Take care. We'll see you on the next one.